My husband, in the midst of secretly taking his beautiful young secretary to New York to have their baby, carefully called our housekeeper with a commanding tone. "Mr. Peterson, remember to be discreet. Don't let my wife know anything." The housekeeper, a man who had served my family for over 30 years, simply replied with a single sentence, a sentence that left my husband stunned on the other end of the line and shattered his perfect world from that moment on. "Sir," Mr. Peterson's voice was firm. "Mrs. Anderson sold the $25 million mansion and left last week. I am Abigail, 32 years old, the only daughter of the chairman of the Thompson-Riley Group. I grew up in the lap of luxury, sheltered and given the finest education. I had never known the sting of hardship or want, and I had once naively believed that my life would forever be a path paved with roses, especially after I married Michael. Michael was my first and only love. He was 3 years my senior, the lead architect in one of our corporation's subsidiary firms. He didn't come from a wealthy family, but he had talent, ambition, and a charming, sophisticated air. He won me over with his intelligence, his chivalry, and his promises of a love that transcended material things. My father, a seasoned veteran of the business world, was initially hesitant, but faced with my determination and Michael's excellent performance at work, he finally gave his blessing. Our wedding was a lavish affair, making headlines in countless magazines. After we were married, my father spun off the architecture firm, giving Michael full control as both a wedding gift and a test. We moved into a $25 million mansion in Beverly Hills, a wedding gift from my parents. 5 years passed, Michael's company grew, and he became one of the most successful young executives in Los Angeles. We had a beautiful son, Alex, and I believed I had the most perfect marriage in the world. He showered me with affection. My life was filled with designer gifts and luxurious vacations. I believed I had the most perfect marriage in the world. Until that fateful evening, Michael came home earlier than usual, holding a bouquet of deep red roses, my favorite. He hugged me from behind, his voice a low, indulgent murmur. "Darling, I have to go to New York on an urgent business trip tomorrow. There's a huge project that needs my supervision. I'll probably be gone for about 3 months. Will you and Alex be lonely here by yourselves?" My heart tightened slightly. 3 months felt like a long time, but I was used to his trips. I turned, wrapping my arms around his neck, and forced a smile. "Your work is the most important thing. Don't worry, Mr. Peterson. Alex and I will handle everything at home." That night, he was unusually tender. He prepared a candlelight dinner himself, told me funny stories, and promised that after this trip, he would take me on a tour around Europe. I was lost in that sweetness, completely unaware that it was merely the final gentle act of a traitor, like a prisoner's last meal. The next morning, like the perfect wife, I woke early to make breakfast, tied his tie myself, and carefully double-checked his luggage. As he was about to leave, I thoughtfully handed him my brand new iPad Pro. "Take this. It'll be more convenient. Your device's battery has been dying lately. I still have my MacBook at home." "You're the best, honey," he said, giving me a loud kiss on the forehead before hurrying away. I stood at the door, waving as his luxury car disappeared beyond the gates, a vague sadness welling up inside me. I had no idea that the very iPad I had given him was about to become a ticking time bomb, ready to detonate my perfect rosy world. That afternoon, after finishing my work, I returned to the empty mansion. I suddenly remembered I needed to send some important design files to a partner, files I recalled saving in my photo album. I opened my MacBook and my heart stopped. Thanks to the iCloud syncing feature that we had both forgotten to turn off, all the photos and data from the iPad I'd given Michael appeared right before my eyes. And there among the work photos and architectural drawings was a strange photo folder carefully and tenderly named Little Angel. My hand froze on the trackpad as a sense of foreboding crept through me. I took a deep breath and clicked on the folder. A series of images appeared. They weren't pictures of me nor of him. They were ultrasound photos, a 12-week scan, a 20-week scan, and the most recent one at 28 weeks. Beneath each photo were loving captions in Michael's distinct handwriting. "Daddy's boy is healthy. You kicked mommy today. Love you." And then I saw it. A picture of a young woman smiling blissfully, her hands cradling a baby bump, holding the ultrasound results. It was none other than Jessica Collins, the beautiful personal secretary Michael had hired 6 months ago. My strength drained away. My throat went dry and a ringing filled my ears. I scrolled through the other photos. Pictures of them at a candlelight dinner on vacation at a luxurious resort and intimate explicit photos taken in the bedroom of an unfamiliar apartment. But the final shock, the fatal blow, was a PDF file saved right next to them. Trembling, I opened it. It was 2 business-class tickets to New York. The departure date was that very morning. The length of stay was 3 months, and the passenger names were Michael Anderson and Jessica Collins. At that point, I couldn't even cry. Everything was painfully clear. The 3-month business trip, the important project, it was all a brazen lie. He had been cheating, had a child with his mistress, and was now using my money, my family's money, to take her to New York to give birth, to give his child with his mistress a perfect start. And I, his legal wife, still waiting at home, had been turned into a fool, a figurehead in my own marriage. The pain morphed into a cold, chilling rage. I had given him everything. Love, trust, a career others could only dream of. And this was how he repaid me. I slammed the laptop shut. The look of despair on my face vanished, replaced by a frightening calm. My father had raised me to be a leader, not a victim. I would not break. I would fight. I walked over to the house intercom and dialed a familiar number. "Mr. Peterson," I said, my voice no longer that of the meek Abigail, but of the true lady of the house. "Come to my office. We have work to do." Immediately after the call, Mr. Peterson, the housekeeper, who had been with my family since I was a little girl, appeared. He entered the office, a slender man with graying hair, but his back was straight, and his eyes always held a look of intelligence and devotion. He saw me sitting motionless before the MacBook, saw the images still displayed on the screen. He said nothing, only let out a quiet sigh, a sigh filled with pity and a knowing sorrow, as if he had seen this coming. Alone now with my most trusted confidant, my tough exterior began to crack. I dropped my head onto the desk, covered my face with my hands, and sobbed. I cried like a child for my wasted youth, for my pure love that had been defiled, for that unborn child of a cheater, and for my own foolishness. The earlier calm was just a mask. Beneath it, my heart had shattered into a million pieces. Mr. Peterson stood there silently, placing a warm hand on my shoulder. He didn't offer empty comforts or advice. He knew that right now I needed to let the pain flow out to wash away all the rosy illusions. When I had no more tears left, only choked sobs, Mr. Peterson handed me a warm towel and a glass of water. "Are you feeling better now, ma'am?" I nodded, wiping away the last of my tears. "Thank you." "In that case," he said, his eyes becoming incredibly serious, "we need to act now. Mr. Anderson has not only betrayed you emotionally, but he is also taking actions that are damaging your assets and the corporation's." I looked up. My exhaustion quickly replaced by alarm. "What do you mean?" Mr. Peterson took a small USB drive from his pocket and plugged it into my computer. He opened a file protected by multiple passwords. "Ma'am, I began to notice Mr. Anderson's unusual activities about 6 months ago. As per the chairman's previous instructions, I had been quietly monitoring the financial activities of the subsidiary companies, including Mr. Anderson's architecture firm." "And what did you find?" I asked, my heart beginning to race. Mr. Anderson used his position as director to approve numerous contracts with shell corporations, companies that were in fact his own front operations, to embezzle a significant amount of money from the firm. He pointed to a number on the screen. This sum was laundered through various accounts and ultimately transferred to an account in the United States. I stared at the number, nearly $7 million. That figure was almost half of the company's capital. What was he planning to do with that money? "He was preparing for a new life in America, ma'am," Mr. Peterson replied, his voice cold. "With that secretary and their child. This 3-month business trip is in reality an escape. He has no intention of ever coming back. He planned to take all that money, leaving you with a hollowed-out company and its debts." Another knife twisted deeper, more cruel. "He didn't just betray me. He was plotting to defraud me, to steal from the very company that had made his name a company built with my family's money. He wanted me to lose everything. Both love and fortune. Rage surged through me, overpowering the pain. Fine, Michael, I seethed. You want to play hardball? I'll play. I looked up, meeting Mr. Peterson's gaze. My eyes no longer held weakness or sorrow, but the steely resolve of someone pushed to the edge. Mr. Peterson, I said, my voice firm and powerful. The plan for revenge begins now. I don't want a messy, dramatic confrontation. I won't lower myself to their level. I want to hit him where it hurts most, his career and his money. What would you like me to do, ma'am? Mr. Peterson asked, his eyes glinting with readiness. First, I said, contact the top real estate brokers immediately. I want to sell this mansion. Sell it right away. Sell it now, ma'am. Mr. Peterson was slightly taken aback. But a rush sale will significantly lower the price. I know, I interrupted, but I need the liquid cash to avoid legal complications later. And I need him to feel what it's like to come back and have no home to return to. A small loss in value is acceptable. Set the condition. Whoever can pay in full within 48 hours gets the house. I want him to understand that when you provoke a lioness, you can't escape, even if you run to the ends of the earth. Mr. Peterson bowed his head. I understand, ma'am. I will proceed immediately. He left, leaving me alone in the vast room. My tears were dry. My pain forged into strength. In this game of chess, I wouldn't just reclaim what was mine. I would make him pay a price 100 times dearer. My order was given, and Mr. Peterson, with the efficiency of someone who had served a tycoon's family for decades, acted instantly. Within an hour, news that the owner needed an urgent sale of the 10,000-square-foot Beverly Hills mansion was sent to the top sharks in the Los Angeles real estate market. This mansion was no ordinary property. It was one of the most iconic estates in the area. Built by my father with meticulous care, every detail, from the pavers in the courtyard to the state-of-the-art security system, was the best of the best. Its market value at the time was no less than $25 million. And most importantly, it was solely in my name, Abigail Thompson, a private asset gifted to me by my parents upon my marriage. This was my ultimate trump card. The news that such a rare gem was on the market created an immediate frenzy. But the condition I imposed was what truly sent shockwaves. A selling price of $22 million, nearly 15% below market value. The only catch was that the buyer had to pay the entire sum in cash or by wire transfer within 48 hours. Mr. Peterson's phone was ringing off the hook. Brokers and real estate magnates couldn't believe it. Is this for real, Mr. Peterson? Why is Mrs. Anderson selling in such a hurry? Is the family in some kind of trouble? There has to be a story here. No one would sell a masterpiece like that at that price. Mr. Peterson gave a uniform reply, following the script I had laid out. The family has a private matter to resolve urgently. Mrs. Anderson does not wish to elaborate. Anyone with serious interest and the financial capacity may view the property. We will not entertain curiosity seekers. The mystery and urgency only made the deal hotter. That very afternoon, a parade of luxury cars lined up outside my mansion's gates. They came not just to see the house, but to try and uncover what had happened to Chairman Thompson's family. I didn't show my face. I just sat in my second-floor office watching everything on the security monitors. I gave Mr. Peterson full authority to handle the viewings. He led them on a tour, highlighting the amenities and repeating the condition of a single payment within 48 hours. Many balked at the stringent payment term, but among the ultra-rich, there was never a shortage of people ready to seize a bargain. By that evening, a serious contender had emerged. It was Mr. Harrison, the owner of a major hotel chain and a formidable figure in the business world. He inspected the house thoroughly without a word about the price. He asked Mr. Peterson only one question. Is the lady of the house certain about her decision? Mr. Peterson simply nodded. Very certain, sir. All right, Mr. Harrison said decisively. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. with my lawyer and a briefcase with the deposit. If all the paperwork is in order, $22 million will be in the lady's account 24 hours later. Everything happened even faster than I had anticipated. The historic deal was sealed in less than 12 hours. The next morning, at precisely 9 o'clock, Mr. Harrison and his team arrived. The paperwork was processed swiftly under the supervision of top lawyers from both sides. All I, in the guise of a fallen Aries, had to do was sit there and sign. When the last signature was down, and the text alert confirming the $22 million transfer to my secret Swiss bank account appeared, I finally let out a sigh of relief. The first strike had been a resounding success. I had converted a fixed asset into a massive stream of cash, ready for my next moves. The news that the $25 million mansion had been sold in a single day spread like wildfire. The neighbors couldn't stop gossiping. "Oh my God, did you hear? The Andersons' house is really sold so fast. They must have gone bankrupt. I heard her husband's business failed. Poor girl, so young and already having to sell her house to pay his debts." I heard it all as the moving truck arrived. I had instructed Mr. Peterson to have only my personal belongings and my parents' heirlooms packed. The rest, all the expensive furniture that Michael had handpicked, I left behind. I didn't want to take anything that reminded me of that deceitful past. As I walked out of the gates for the last time, I turned back to look at the house. It had once been my home, my paradise. Now, it was just an empty memory. But I wasn't sad because I knew this wasn't an end. It was a beginning. A beginning of a war I was certain to win. The car carrying me didn't go to some temporary shelter. It drove straight to another luxurious penthouse in the heart of the city, one of the properties my father had secretly set aside for me. From here, I would start to rebuild my life. And from here, I would watch the downfall of the man who betrayed me. While I was busy with my plans across the country, Michael and Jessica were still lost in their dream. They had no idea that the house they planned to return to no longer belonged to them. My move was quick and quiet. While all of Los Angeles was buzzing about the lightning-fast sale of the mansion, I was already settled into a luxurious penthouse in one of the city's most secure buildings, a place no paparazzi or private investigator could reach. From here, through vast plate glass windows, I could see the entire city skyline. But in my eyes now, Los Angeles was not a city of glamour, but a giant chessboard. And I was the one controlling the most important pieces. Selling the mansion was just the first move, a preemptive strike to cut off Michael's retreat. But I knew it wasn't enough. He still had money, other assets in the country, and most importantly, he still held the title of my legal husband. I needed to tighten the noose to strip him of everything, leaving him no escape route. The very next morning, my legal team and I began the second phase of the plan, asset liquidation and seizure. The first task was to deal with the immense fortune I now possessed. In addition to the $22 million from the household, I had down a third $10 million from me personnel trust fund and various savings accounts totaling $32 million, a figure that would make anyone's head spin. I couldn't leave this money in domestic banks. I knew that once Michael realized what was happening, he would frantically try to freeze my accounts, using the law to claim his share of our marital assets. With the help of top financial experts from the Thompson Group, the entire $32 million was skillfully withdrawn and funneled through various investment channels from stocks and bonds to funds in Singapore. Ultimately, it was all legitimized and transferred into a secure residency account my father had set up for me in Switzerland. Within 24 hours, on paper, Abigail Thompson in the United States had become practically penniless. While the money was in transit, I simultaneously took the decisive legal step. I sat with my lawyer and signed a petition for a unilateral divorce. Accompanying it was not some tearful emotional plea, but a thick file of evidence that Mr. Peterson had collected photos of Michael and Jessica at the airport, bank statements proving he had embezzled $7 million from the company, and even audio recordings of his conversations with his mistress, admitting to the affair. With this evidence, my lawyer said confidently, not only can we secure a swift divorce, but we can also petition the court for an emergency injunction to freeze all assets registered under Mr. Anderson's name in the United States to ensure the execution of the judgment. And that was exactly what I wanted. I didn't need a single penny from those assets. The Audi he drove, the condo he bought for his parents, his meager shares in the architecture firm, all of it was pocket change compared to what he had taken from me. But I wanted to seize them. I wanted him to taste the feeling of powerlessness, the feeling of having everything frozen, just as he had frozen my heart. The petition was filed and just 1 day later an emergency injunction was issued. Every bank account in the name of Michael Anderson was frozen. All transactions related to his assets were suspended. The net had been cast perfectly. In New York, he would soon have no home to return to. In the rest of the country, he wouldn't have a cent to his name. He was completely isolated, cut off from all resources like a caged animal backed into a corner. Everything was completed in just 3 days. 3 days to change a destiny. I sat in my penthouse looking down at the city lights, feeling strangely calm. I didn't feel triumphant, just a deep exhaustion after a grueling mental battle. Just then, Mr. Peterson entered holding a vibrating phone. "Ma'am, it's Mr. Anderson." I glanced at the screen. The call was from a New York number. A week had passed since he left. He was probably calling to check on the wife he thought was still waiting for him at home and also to start giving Mr. Peterson his orders. I didn't answer. I just handed the phone to Mr. Peterson. "Take the call," I said, "and say exactly what I told you." Mr. Peterson nodded, answered, and put the call on speaker. A familiar, smug, and condescending voice filled the room. "Hello, Mr. Peterson. Is everything all right at home?" "Yes, sir. Everything is as usual." "Good. Remember to be discreet. Don't let my wife, Mrs. Anderson, know anything. Just tell her I'm busy in meetings all day. If anyone asks, you say that. Got it?" I sat there listening silently. The same commanding tone, the same lies without a hint of remorse. He had no idea that in a few seconds his world would come crashing down. Michael's self-satisfied voice echoed through the speakerphone, filling the quiet penthouse. He was still deep in his role as a powerful executive, believing that everything back home was under his control and that his gentle wife was dutifully waiting for him. He was oblivious to the fact that the person listening to his commands was not just the old housekeeper, but also me, the wife he had just mentioned. Mr. Peterson maintained his usual composure. He glanced at me as if seeking final permission. I gave a slight nod. It was time. "Sir," Mr. Peterson began, his voice no longer the deferential tone of an employee, but the firm, clear voice of someone delivering an irrefutable truth. "There is something I think you need to know." "What is it?" Michael's voice on the other end was still condescending, slightly annoyed at being interrupted. "Did my wife go on another shopping spree?" Mr. Peterson ignored the question. He spoke slowly, each word a hammer blow against Michael's arrogance. "No, sir, it's not that. Mrs. Anderson sold the $25 million mansion and left last week." A pause, a suffocating silence stretched for several seconds on the other end of the line. I could picture Michael's face at that moment, the smugness vanishing, replaced by utter disbelief. "What? What did you just say?" He finally managed to stammer, his voice strained and unrecognizable. "Sold the house? Are you kidding me? Why would she sell the house? Who did she sell it to? For how much?" A frantic barrage of questions tumbled out. He didn't ask why I left or where I had gone. His first concern was still about the money. "Sir, I do not know the details," Mr. Peterson replied, his tone still level. "I only know that Mrs. Anderson completed all the procedures very quickly. The house has a new owner and she has moved out. She didn't say where she was going." "No way. Impossible." I heard Michael roar through the phone, followed by the sound of something shattering. She dared to do that behind my back. What right does she have to sell that house?" "That's our house." "Sir," Mr. Peterson responded coldly. "According to the legal documents, the mansion is registered solely under the name of Mrs. Abigail Thompson. It is her personal property acquired before the marriage. She has the absolute right to dispose of it." Another silence. This time I could hear Michael's ragged breathing. He had been cornered by the very law he sought to exploit. He knew Mr. Peterson was right. The house, the biggest prize he had always coveted, was something he could never touch without my consent. "So where did she go?" he asked, his voice now laced with desperation. "I don't know, sir. She left no message. She only said, if he calls, tell him the game is over. The game? Yes, Mr. Peterson continued, delivering the final blow. She also asked me to relay that she has a surprise for you. Perhaps you should check your bank accounts. With that, without waiting for Michael's reaction, Mr. Peterson decisively ended the call. The penthouse fell silent. I sat there, feeling no satisfaction, only emptiness. The curtain had fallen on Act 1. On the other side of the country, in a luxury apartment in New York, a true nightmare was just beginning. After the shocking phone call, Michael frantically tried to call Mr. Peterson back, but to no avail. He called me dozens of times, but my phone was already lying dormant in a drawer. He called his parents. What? Sold the house? His mother, Mrs. Anderson, shrieked over the phone. Impossible. She really did that. His father was calmer, but his voice was filled with anxiety. Son, calm down. She's probably just upset about something. Your mother and I will go check on the situation. But when they arrived at the mansion, they were greeted only by a locked iron gate and a team of unfamiliar security guards. Sorry, this is private property. You can't enter. True panic set in. Michael started checking his accounts. He opened his banking app and froze. All of his accounts, checking, savings, and brokerage displayed the same stark red letters. Account frozen by court order. He didn't have a single dollar left. His only hope was his international credit cards. He hurriedly checked the limits. They were still active. He breathed a sigh of relief. At least he still had money to maintain his lavish lifestyle in New York to provide for Jessica and their unborn child. He didn't know that this was just a false sense of security, that a much larger trap was waiting for him. The shock of having his assets frozen back home left Michael reeling, but he tried to remain calm. He convinced himself it was just a tantrum on my part, that a few sweet words upon his return would smooth everything over. Besides, he still had his high-limit international credit cards, enough to continue his extravagant life in New York and keep his young mistress Jessica happy. His plan was set. Let Jessica give birth here, secure American citizenship for the baby, and use that as a trump card in his negotiations with me. He still believed my love for him was so profound that I would accept anything. He didn't tell Jessica the whole truth, only that the company back home was facing minor issues and his accounts were temporarily frozen, but everything was under control. Jessica, a woman accustomed to a life of leisure, wasn't concerned. As long as Michael could still fund her shopping sprees and five-star dinners, nothing else mattered. They continued their days of indulgence. Michael deliberately spent more lavishly, both to maintain his image and to mask the growing fear in his heart. Then the second fatal blow landed on a sunny afternoon in Manhattan. After a routine prenatal checkup at a prestigious clinic, Jessica insisted Michael take her to Fifth Avenue. She had her eye on a limited-edition pink Crocodile Hermes Birkin bag. Honey, she cooed, clinging to his arm. I'm about to give birth. Can you buy this for me as a celebration gift? When our son is born, I'll have so many things to carry. Though the bag's six-figure price tag made him wince internally, Michael, wanting to save face and please her, nodded. Anything for you, darling. They walked into the luxurious Hermes boutique. Michael confidently presented his American Express Centurion card, the coveted black card, his ultimate status symbol. He handed it to the sales associate with an air of assurance. The associate smiled and swiped the card. Then her smile vanished, replaced by a look of confusion. She swiped it again and again. Sir, she said, looking up apologetically. I'm very sorry, but your card has been declined. Declined? Michael was stunned. That's impossible. Check it again. There's never a problem with my card. I've tried several times, sir. The system says the card has been suspended by the issuing bank. Every eye in the store turned towards them. Jessica, who had been excitedly modeling the bag, flushed with embarrassment. Michael, what's wrong? She whispered, her voice sharp with annoyance. Did you forget to pay last month's bill? Nonsense, he snapped. He quickly pulled out another card. A Visa Infinite. Try this one. The result was the same. "Sir, this card is also declined." Now, real panic seized Michael. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He pulled out every card in his wallet, each one a premium card, but the answer was always the same regretful shake of the head from the sales associate. All of his credit cards, the cards he thought were limitless, had been suspended. He couldn't understand it. They were all supplementary cards linked to my primary account. How could I have suspended them? He was unaware that as the primary card holder and with the backing of a top legal team, I had the absolute right to do just that. I had let him spend freely for a week only to gather more evidence of his profligate lifestyle. "Jessica, I'm so sorry," Michael stammered, turning to her. "There must be some mistake at the bank. Maybe we can come back another day." But Jessica's patience had run out. She slammed the Birkin bag down on the counter. "A mistake? I don't think there's any mistake here, Michael," she hissed. "Tell me the truth. Are you broke?" "No, of course not," he denied quickly. "Then why don't your cards work? Don't you lie to me?" They began arguing right there in the middle of the luxury boutique under the curious and contemptuous gazes of the other patrons. Michael had to drag her out of the store in utter humiliation. The real nightmare began. With no credit cards, the cash they had brought was nearly gone after days of lavish spending. They were stranded across the country, staying in a luxury hotel they could no longer afford. The hospital where Jessica was registered to give birth started calling, demanding prepayment for the delivery package, which cost tens of thousands of dollars. Their fairy tale romance quickly dissolved into constant arguments about money. "I can't believe you've let it come to this," she would scream. "You promised me a life of luxury. Our son is almost here. Are you planning to have him born on the street?" Jessica's accusations were like daggers to Michael's already shattered pride. He had lost everything. His career, his house, his cars, his money. And now, the mistress for whom he had risked it all was turning on him. But in his desperation, an idea sparked in his mind. He still had one last card to play. A card he believed could turn the tables. While Michael and Jessica were facing their financial nightmare in New York, back in Los Angeles, I was executing the next step of my plan, disappearing completely. After selling the mansion and freezing Michael's assets, I didn't return to my father's estate. I knew that would be the first place he and his family would look for me. Instead, Mr. Peterson and I moved to another penthouse, one of my family's secret properties, atop a skyscraper with multi-layered security. The first thing I did was snap my old SIM card in half, severing all contact with the past. I got a new number known only to my father, Mr. Peterson, and my legal team. I deleted all my social media accounts. Abigail Anderson, the gentle wife, and airy